Hey team, thanks to you all studying the promos very well and RTPOS, deductions for mispricing phones are extremely rare nowadays, but they still do happen. Here are the 5 most common problems that I want you to avoid when activating phones so that you never get a deduction. So first of all, used IMEI. When you activate a phone, it is now used, and it either needs to be sold to the customer or it needs to be put in the RMA bin with an RMA slip that's marked DOA used activated by mistake. When you're activating a phone, you can actually tell if it's used because there'll be a little pop-up that says reactivation. If you're ever activating a phone and it says reactivation, stop, check device history, and if it's used, just put it in the RMA bin with an RMA slip that says DOA activated by mistake. So that's the first common problem, is activating a phone that is used. I sent an email on that a couple days ago, so just help me control that first problem of activating used IMEIs and SIM cards. Number 2, swapping devices on the account. This is pretty clear fraud, but I want to explain it. Let's say that a guy and a girl come in and one has an upgrade and one doesn't, and they're on the same account. So you sell a phone to the customer who has an upgrade available, and then you have the customer switch it or you switch it. That's fraud. And if that happens, you're going to get that deduction. So I highly suggest you stay away from that. Really, any changes that happen after the first activation are bad. And if you think it's fraud, it probably is. So you probably don't want to sell that phone. Kind of the same thing with plans. Many promos we have plan restrictions, and you guys do a great job of studying the promos, so I know that you know that. But for example, sometimes they require unlimited plans or 50 or 60. So if a promo requires a certain plan, RT will require you to have that plan. And if you check out and then change that plan, that's fraud, and you will likely get a deduction for that. So definitely don't do that. Next up, so we talked about swapping used IMEIs, talked about swapping phones after the transaction. We talked about swapping plans after the account. Next up, let's talk about canceling lines in the account. Oftentimes, these promos are meant to add subscribers, to add new lines. So they want a customer who currently has 2 lines to add 3, or a customer who has 3 lines to have 4. So if a customer comes in and has 3 lines, and you cancel one, and then do a new line 60 or new line 100 or whatever the new line promo is, they started off the day with 3 and they ended the day with 3. They didn't actually add a line, and you will eat the deduction for that. So don't manipulate the customer's account in order to get them to be qualified, because it's possible that that could be considered fraud, and you can get the deduction for that. So definitely stay away from that. Finally, if this is a coupon type promo where the customer needs the coupon on their account, make sure that you see the coupon and you select the coupon is on the account. If somehow the coupon falls off, it's okay. You can still sell that phone. Just make sure you notate the account. This customer was eligible for this coupon, and this was approved by my ASR named John Smith. Make sure you get verbal approval from your ASR and or your GM or RM or even an owner. We're always available to take your calls. So those are the 5 most common issues I see with mispricing phones and phone deductions. Is A, activating used phones by accident or intentionally. B, swapping devices on the account after the transaction. That's fraud. Really, you have to wait like 7 or 8 days after a transaction to move phones around for the customer. C, swapping plans on the account. Again, same thing. That could be potentially fraud. Study the business rules, and if you think it's fraud, it probably is. 4, or D, canceling lines on the account before you add them or even after you add them. Generally speaking, if you think it might be fraud, it probably is. If they start the day with 2, they need to end up with 3. If they start the day with 3, they need to end up with 4. It has to be a new line of service that adds to the total. You can't just cancel one and add one. And then finally, if there's a coupon, if the promo requires a coupon, make sure that coupon is on the account. And if it's not, make sure to notate the account with a memo and speak to your GM or RM. You'll probably have to speak to them in order to check out an RTPOS, and or your account manager. Say the account manager's name. Is it James McGovern for Orlando? Is it Brad Webster in Tampa? Is it Kevin Allen in KC, or is it an ASR, etc.? So those are the 5 most common ways for that phone mispricing happens, and I want your help to try to make sure that we go through all of February, all of March with no deductions. Have a great day.